All right.
Doctors, do you know what the big misconception is in our profession? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants and Chiro Health USA. This is the podcast of no fluff for chiropractors who are done playing small and ready to dominate their markets. Are you ready, Troy?
I'm ready. That got me excited.
I know, right? All right. I know. So everybody out there, if you haven't tuned in before, this is Dr. Troy Fox. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich. We're your hosts for today. And I really want to talk about this topic that I think is the biggest misconception in our profession, because I want to get real on this for just a minute. And that is the idea that good business coaching for your practice is nothing more than an expense rather than an investment. Ready, go. I think we can run with this one. I just think that's the wrong mindset completely.
I think it's the same, it's the same mindset that, and I'll give two examples. One, boards. How many of you took like an Irene Gold or something like that? I think Irene Gold's still around. So did I. That was an insurance policy for success. And it was a great insurance policy for success.
Just in case.
It was the just in case. Now, here's the other thing. You know, how many, and you can name it for me, I'll give you a few seconds to answer this question. How many NFL teams right now in the league are operating without a head coach during season?
None that I'm aware of.
Well, why? They're all good football players. They've all been coached before. They know how to play football, right? Why do they need a coach?
They need
Is it just for somebody
hold it all together and give oversight. And they don't just have one coach.
No. Yeah. They got multiple.
Yeah. What was it? Michael Jordan always said he gave all of his success to his coaches. Notice it's plural. He had 9 coaches.
Yeah.
To help him be great. 9 coaches.
And this is a guy that's considered, there's the LeBron argument, which for those of you that think LeBron's better than Michael, come on now. Let's be real. Michael's the GOAT. But here's the deal. This is the guy that was arguably probably the best or one of the 2 best basketball players. Or if you say there's a couple others, I liked Larry Bird. Larry was menacing. He was good. So let's say he's in top 5. Okay. Top 5 basketball players of all times, maybe the greatest of all time. He still needs 9 coaches. Come on now. He should be able to do this on his own at this point. What kind of crutch is that to need a coach?
So it's really it's a mindset problem. It's just a big lie.
It is.
That good business coaching isn't going to help you in some way, somehow. Because here's how you have to look at it, in my opinion. If a good business coach, and I'm just going to make up some numbers, charges you $1,000 a month, okay? Now, that might sound like a lot. $1,000. How many patients do I have to see to get $1,000 in the clinic? That's the wrong mindset, because that $1,000 you're going to pay to the coach should be turning your practice into an extra $10,000 in collections. Now, if I told you I had an investment that you could invest in $1,000 and every month it's going to pay you $10,000. So by the end of the year, it's paid you $100,000 on a $1,000 investment. Are you telling me you wouldn't do that? Of course you would.
I would, but I'm going to be devil's advocate and you're going to answer this question. So here's what we hear sometimes. You're just going to give me some gimmick that's going to get new patients in the door, right? I can go online and figure out how to get 20 new patients, or I get emails every day for how to get new patients in the front door. Isn't that what coaching does in chiropractic? It's just a marketing gimmick.
No, that's the wrong mindset. We started this off saying good business coaching, not marketing schemes, not motivation, not good, tried and true business principles, coaching and consulting. That's what we're talking about today. That's what is a good investment. And all the top practices in the country have good business consultants behind them.
And they also are not just focused on 2 numbers. You know, the big number back in the day, there were 3 numbers.
I'm going to say it.
3 numbers. I'm going to say it. New patients.
Nails on a chalkboard.
Total visits. Okay. What's the last one? P and PVA. Patient visit, that PVA, that patient visit average, which can be manipulated by the number
Just
of new
lower
patients.
your new patients.
Lower your new patients and your
And it
PVA
goes through
goes
the
up
roof.
automatically through
Yeah.
the roof. So it's the dumbest statistic, unless you can compare likewise months. You could compare PVA on likewise months. Maybe there's a way to do that, but that's a really horrible statistic to use. But that's what people heard. And quite frankly, chiropractors, I think you guys are stuck. And I don't mean this in a bad way, because I think some people got a bad taste in their mouth 15, 20 years ago by some coaching that wasn't scrupulous.
Yep.
I say it, there was some unscrupulous coaches out there
Little
that were
enough.
literally charging an arm and a leg, and all they were telling you is you get your PVA up. And I dealt with some of those groups
Yep.
because I was searching, and I had a solid coaching setup here with cats at the time, and I was a client at the time, but
Yep,
yet
both
I
did.
was searching for something else. And so
Yep.
I jumped ship and I found out just how bad it could be. And we've taken that concept and improved upon it. How many metrics do you look at when you look at a clinic stats at this point? Obviously, we look at
So
how many new patients, how many visits, but how many numbers are you looking at?
we look at 40 KPIs, and then we look at, I think it's a dozen trending charts.
Mhm.
So basically 52 different sets of data.
That's amazing. And you can, because of that, or we can identify almost immediately when we get some trending. And if you're a client of ours, we want you to send us numbers, because what it does is you have a data-driven practice then. And what I don't mean is you need to get your PVA up to 60. What I do mean is we can look at your data and we can look at the trends that are going in your practice over time, not a month to month or a year to year, but just literally we can go this year to date to this year to date. We can look at overall trends and how you were sitting here and now you're okay. Why is that? And we can identify in a lot of cases in a matter of minutes,
Yep.
what's going on with your practice and where your bucket has got a big hole.
Yep.
Because in a lot of cases, that's where it is. You either
It shows up quick.
don't have an opening into the bucket. You've got it closed. That's no new patients, right? You're completely not getting any new patients. Or you have a hole in the bucket. In most cases, you have a hole in the bucket. Most of you are getting new patients. Maybe you need a little help with it, but that's really not our focus. Our focus from a coaching standpoint is good business practices. And what do we look at? And here's the other chalkboard moment, is when we go to state associations, what do people always say? How many new patients did you see last month? How many visits did you see? And you know what? I used to do that, and the thing is, when you have a big practice, people want to know what you did. They want to know how many new patients you saw and how many visits you had. But then once they hear it, I think in some cases, it's almost like they're planning your demise the second they hear it. They're like, that's not fair. I should have that. And I think we do that sometimes where we compare ourselves.
We compare too much.
Because here's the thing, you know what? I could see 1,500 patient visits in a month and be less profitable than you are at 800 patient visits a month.
Absolutely. We see that all the time.
And guess what? Yeah.
Go ahead. But hold that thought for just a second, because I know where you're
All right.
going. We got to take a break. I'm about to get the hook here. So we're talking about the value of a good business coach for your practice. So you're listening to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast. Word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
In today's economy, every dollar counts. Families are facing tough choices, having to reconsider what was once essential to them. But when it comes to healthcare, no one should have to compromise on their well-being because of financial constraints. That's where ChiroHealth USA steps in, the solution for your practice. We understand the financial pressures families are under, whether they're insured, on Medicare, or paying out of pocket for treatment. By offering discounts on care, you can ensure that your patients can still afford the treatment they need. At ChiroHealth USA, we're committed to making sure no family has to sacrifice their health due to financial hardship. We'll work with you to create a game plan that keeps your waiting room full and your practice thriving. And here's the best part. Offering affordable care not only benefits your patients, but also positively impacts your bottom line. So why wait? Join ChiroHealth USA today and join the ranks of the most successful practices. Because when you put your patients first, everyone wins.
Okay, we are back. We're talking about the value a good business coach brings to your practice. And Troy, I'm going to let you finish your thought that you had before the break.
Yeah. So I was talking about the difference. It doesn't matter how many patients you see a month or a week or a day. What matters is, as a business, what's your margin? What are your margins on those patients? If I have a 40% margin on every patient that I see because I run efficiently, I have sourced materials efficiently, products efficiently, and I've got a 40% margin and you're running at a 5% margin, you have to see a heck of a lot more patients in a month's time and put a lot more wear and tear on your body to achieve the same dollar amount coming in the door and staying with you. So instead of,
if your collections are, your services are 50,000, let's say your collections are 50,000, but your expenses are 70,000, you're bankrupt. Now
you got a big problem.
You can walk around your state association meeting saying, I collect $50,000 a month, but let's talk profit margin. That's what I want to know. What's your profit margin? Do you even know what it is? Do you even have one?
A lot of people don't.
I think that's where good coaching steps in. As a doctor, Troy, you're still in practice. And when I was in practice, it's hard to focus on patient care and the business. And so a good business coach comes in and helps you focus on the business side without you having to spend a lot more time doing it. And they bring in real strategy, not just theory, or not just, well, try this, or my buddy down the street's doing this, so I think I'll see what that does in my practice. That isn't going to work. And good coaches bring in systems that help you drive profitability. They help you set a correct fee strategy. They provide training and development for you and your team, which, I mean, that right there is a game changer. And they give you accountability. We all need accountability. We go back to Michael Jordan for just a second. The guy had 9 coaches. Do you think those 9 coaches just always placated him and said, oh, Michael, you're already the greatest, I don't really need to do much? No, they drove him to be greater and greater. That's accountability. And we all need that accountability to keep us driven.
Yeah, you'll just coast otherwise. And that's one thing I see with people that come to us sometimes that already have a great practice. What would you have to offer me? In a lot of cases, we're going to push you because you already have a great practice and you want more. Let's say you come to us and you're barely scraping the treetops. Well, we may have some work to do. And the thing is, you really don't want to wait until your nose down in the treetops already, because people come to us sometimes with that type of situation and they want somehow for us to pull them up above the trees, get them up in the air again and flying. And sometimes there's 3, 4, 5 different steps. We have to stepwise walk through this, and you're still spiraling in the trees. So those are the most frustrating ones for me, when people don't understand, why am I not seeing success yet? I use a really scientific term here, because you're a disaster. And the problem is, we see this to where you may be the best chiropractor I've ever seen. Your adjustive technique is unrivaled, but you've been in a race to the bottom with your fees. You have got profitability that's almost zero. Your spending habits are atrocious. And you just hired 2 more people into your practice this week when you don't have the numbers to support it.
And you buy every shiny thing that comes by your front door.
And I asked you why you did it, because I want my practice to grow. And big practices have bigger staffs and more toys and blah, blah, but bigger practices that have those came about those in the proper way. So there's a lot that we do from a coaching standpoint. 1, from experience of working with other practices. 2, from intuition, because sometimes I'm just listening to you. Sometimes I'm listening and I'm just sitting back smiling and I'm like, I know where we're headed with this, because literally people will come up to you and go, hey, do you have 5 minutes? Can I talk to you? Sure. Like, especially at seminars and that sort of thing. And I will listen, and literally I could probably finish your sentences.
Yep.
Because you guys are all making a lot of the same mistakes that are making mistakes. Now, some of you that aren't making mistakes, I listen and go, oh, here's what I think they could do to do better. And I'm usually right about that too. You're usually right about that as well. But those are the two types of practices we see. Those that are flourishing, that could be that aren't expanded to their full potential, and those that are utilizing 2% of their potential because they just don't know how to operate in a business environment. And quite frankly, that's not your fault. I'm not going to fault you. You didn't go to business school. You went to chiropractic school.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, what you found out when you got out is that you're running a business. I will say that was a pretty big slap in the face for me too. And all of a
Oh, yeah.
sudden, all this cat stuff that I was learning, I was like, oh crap, I need to know how to do all this stuff. This
There's
isn't
a lot.
fantasy anymore. This is reality in my life. I need to do some of this stuff because we also keep you abreast of federal law, right? So we know when there are Medicare changes, we know when there's insurance changes, we know when there are things that you should or should not be doing and make you aware. So those are other things that I have to be aware of as well. I'm no longer just in a bubble practicing by myself anymore. So
The value of coaching, I always say this, the proof is in the numbers. Practices that have good business coaches, they have higher collections, they have lower overhead, they're utilizing their profit centers correctly, their fee strategies are set well, they're retaining patients better, they've got the right flow of new patients because there's a right flow and a wrong flow. And I'm not going to go into that in too much detail, but it's kind of like capacity. And you can really screw your practice up if you're doing that wrong. And you're not having to guess about what to do. We didn't become coaches because we didn't have experience. We've walked in your shoes. We are doctors. We have owned clinics and practiced in clinics and still do. Plus, we've had business experience on top of that, real world business experience. So there's a lot brought to the table. And I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but we know what the mistakes are, and we try to not let our clients make those same mistakes. But here's how coaching works. It's just like being a chiropractor. Okay. You can be a great chiropractor. You can have the best adjusting technique, like you said a minute ago, in the world. But if your patients don't follow your care plan, what kind of outcomes do you get? Not very good ones. And coaching works the same way. And I hear this from people sometimes. Oh, I tried coaching. It didn't work. Did you implement what they told you to do? No, I got into it. I don't know. It just didn't seem right. I'm not really sure what I was looking for. And so I didn't do a lot of the stuff. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't show up to the seminars and the events and my coaching calls. And then I wondered why my outcomes weren't good. Hello, are you in there? It's just like your patient who says, you know what? I know you told me to come 3 times a week for 4 weeks. I think I'll come once every 3 months. You're going to get lousy results. So you have to be engaged with your coach and your consultants in order for it to work. They put out the information and your coaching calls and all those things for you for a reason, because it's part of your plan. So you've got to follow your plan. And if you quit or give up, guess what? Your results will look just like your patients who quit care.
here's what's even worse in chiropractic is you guys will pay for a result, but never engage to get the result. I've seen that so many times where
That's a good way to put it.
you're paying a consultant to work with you. We tell you what to do and you go, okay. And then you go back in and start seeing patients again and you never do any of it. And then you go, I don't know why I'm not doing any better. But literally you're paying the money every month, assuming that just making that payment should make your practice grow. And it's honestly, it's such a disconnect that it's almost funny. And I know if you're listening, you're going, that's weird. People do it all the time. You know what? I've done it. I've been disconnected and I'm paying that monthly payment thinking, you guys do it with note software too, by the way. You think that it's going to help your notes and fix your notes if you buy a note software and then your notes still suck, even though you bought the note software and you don't even.
And it still takes you just as long to do a note.
Exactly. And you don't even understand all the features on the new note software, but you thought by making that monthly payment, that 3-year commitment to it, that it was going to fix all your problems. So honestly, we do that a lot just as humans. We wish we could buy our way out of things and we can't. And
And we mentioned this at the outset, that there's a lot of gimmicky stuff out there. And it looks shiny and pretty. And I'll be honest, good business consulting looks pretty boring.
Yeah.
But it's inside that can of where the nuts and bolts are that the real value is. And how many of us have been snake bit by these gimmicky things that are out there? I'm not going to point any fingers. I see doctors spend big money on marketing plans to wind up getting the same number of patients they've always gotten.
And I'm going to be really brutally honest and say that some of what we see out there even right now is the same turd with a different wrapper on it. And I hate to say that, but it's true. We're seeing some of the same stuff being told to people, and some of it's dangerous to your practice.
Yeah, it is.
Here's what we do that's different, and I'm going to set us apart. We've been doing this for a while, and Dr. Perusich and I both said at the outset that when we did this, we wanted to do it with integrity. We wanted to do it with a purpose, and we wanted it to be, and for us, we really wanted this to be driven by God. And that's our principles as we start this. But when it comes to you coaching, we wanted to keep it small. So we don't need, I don't want a conference room in a Marriott hotel full of people. I really don't.
Yeah.
And
I don't want 500 people around.
No, what I want is small groups to where we can work together and we can collaborate. And so when we have times that we get together, we keep those groups small enough that I could still tell you every one of your names, and I'll walk out and talk with you while we're there. We're going to have time to collaborate with each other while you're there. We're also going to have one-on-one time with coaching, which that one you expected. We're also, when we do some of our seminars, we will do them virtually, and you'll be there and able to chat and ask questions directly from us in the middle of the seminar. I mean,
without the expense of having to travel.
No travel. We're 100% accessible, and we're available after the fact as well. You have more questions, email us after the fact. We're going to get with you. But we focus and thrive on a smaller nuclear family of people that we're working with. We do that for a reason, because we give you exactly what we said. I know everybody says, oh, it's an individualized approach to coaching or whatever you want to call it, consulting, coaching, whatever they call it in the industry. But when we are coaching you, we really are doing an individualized effort with your practice that's not cookie cutter. You're not going to walk in, I'm going to go, here's this, and here's a packet, take it. When you're done reading it, get back with me. That's not how this works.
It's not how this works. And there's so many hidden dangers by not having a coach. You mentioned a huge one a minute ago, compliance. How many doctors have we talked to that don't know there's been HIPAA changes? Or don't know what No Surprises Act is, or the myriad of things that we keep our finger on for our clients, and not just tell them that there's been a change or something new. We show them how to utilize it and how to implement it. But that's only one of the hidden dangers. Every year without a good business coach means just more and more lost revenue, more and more stuck in that mentality of, I already know how to do this. Or I've talked to my buddy who's been in practice 5 years longer than me, and this is what he does. Read the trade magazines, read the legal magazines, especially the healthcare law magazines, and you'll find out about all the doctors who listen to their buddy down the street who have gotten in trouble because of that. So a good coach is going to tell you what's right and what's wrong and keep you from bleeding profits in your practice. Because, okay, docs out there listening, how many of you, by a show of hands, I can see your hands, how many by a show of hands are a not-for-profit organization? That's what I thought. None of you. So you've got to be able to understand how to turn a profit in your practice. And good coaching just tears the roof off your practice and looks down inside from the top and gives you a view of your practice that you will never see on your own. And that's how we hold you accountable. And that's how we see where to help you.
I love that. Tear the roof off and a look you'd never, because you don't, because you're from the inside looking out.
Yeah, you can't
we're
see
the
it.
outside. We're the outside looking in from 30,000 feet, and then we come down at eye level with you and work with you. And that's where sometimes, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that's where sometimes we get organizations out there that say they're really personalized, but they never make it past the 30,000 foot view. Oh, you're a chiropractor. You need more new patients. Your PVA is not where it needs to be. Here's some materials to work on. And here's what I want you to do between now and next time I see you. That's as far as they get. We get down in the weeds with you to answer the questions. And I think that's what sets us apart. But I don't think that says, gee, coaching in general can only be the way that we coach. I think there are other ways about it. But I tell people this same thing when I'm in practice. Here's what I mean by this. And so you can take what you want from this. When you're in practice, is it best to be the lowest cost provider in your area? Or is it best to be the best provider and cost may not be the lowest in the area? I'm going with number 2. That's where I'm at in my practice.
That's where I was in my practice.
I'm not in a race to the bottom, but why am I not in a race to the bottom? Not in a race to the bottom because I want to provide a great service to my patients. Now, from a coaching standpoint, we could be in a race to the bottom as well. We could say, hey, we're going to charge way less than anybody else, but we're going to give you way less services. I think the type of client that we entertain in our group in CATS is the type of client that's a well-rounded client that wants to improve their practice in all aspects. And they want us to triage, what do we need to work on first? And so what we do is we get together with you and we basically do a triage session where you give us kind of the 30,000 foot overview of what my practice is. What does it look like? I've got 2 locations, 3 doctors, 5 staff, or I've got 1 location. I'm the only doctor and I've got 1 staff who's my wife. I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You tell us what's going on. Here are the biggest things that I encounter in my practice and my biggest concerns in practice. And here are my fears. I'm non-compliant. I'm this, I'm that.
We're trying to get your goals too.
Yeah. And then we want to look at your goals as well. So we look at all those things and then we put a plan together for you. And that is what sets the CATS experience apart. Because I've been to the large ones where you sit in a big room and yes, you're going to get a personal phone call. But we're going to go through, what are we going to go through? It's the laundry list for that week. Hey, let's make sure this week that we're talking to all of our clients about blah, blah, blah. Is that personalized or is that across the board something that needs to be addressed? Well, maybe I've already addressed that. Okay, then you're good till next week. Am I still paying X number of dollars a month for this service? I want meat on the bone every time I talk. In other words, how's my practice doing and what am I doing? I don't want the cookie cutter. Here's what we're working on this week thing. So that's how coaching with us works. No, I wouldn't either.
Hey, we need to take another quick break. So when we come back, I want to talk about how to choose the right coach. And I got a couple other thoughts too. So I'm sure you do as well. We're talking about the value of good business coaching in your practice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
CATS Chiropractic Consultants, your partner in chiropractic success. We are dedicated with one-on-one guidance to bring you all your practice management needs. Let's supercharge your practice. Give us a call today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast. We are talking about bringing in a good business coach for your practice. Emphasis on good there. Troy, I want to banner around here for just a minute. What it looks like, or how do you find the right coach? And I think personally, one of the most important things is, do they have business experience? Where is their experience from? Did they fail in practice and decided to just throw a coaching plaque out on the front door and maybe I can tell doctors how to run a practice better than mine? Or do they actually have real experience in running a clinic, running a successful clinic, maybe multiple clinics, business experience outside of chiropractic? I think those are some of the really important things to look for.
Well, a little gray hair doesn't hurt because that usually signifies some experience, but not always. But I would agree with you. We see in a lot of cases people that are consulting or coaching other people that don't really have the experience. And that's where you and I've talked about many times, having successful practices and having really been there, done that. And I'm still right in the weeds right now and probably will be for another 10 or 11 years, God willing, and my health holds out because I love what I do. But at the same time, I love helping other people and being in the weeds and knowing this. I'm not talking from a pulpit. I don't have the slickest. And here's the thing. I'm not the best looking guy. I know that's a shocker because you guys are looking at this fabulous bald head.
Richard would probably say otherwise.
Yes. Look at that bald head. But so I'm not the most attractive guy. I'm not the most well-spoken guy. I don't have the fanciest social media, but I have really solid advice. And I think that's sometimes where we get caught up in slick social media campaigns. If I pulled up and took some roids and got all bulked up and looked really big and did the gun show. And I pulled up my big 4-wheel drive truck and jumped out and did some sort of fancy commercial on coaching and how it should be, and that I'm the coach for you because I've got all these qualifications that have nothing to do with chiropractic. And because I find this funny, don't we see in a lot of cases, chiropractors get all excited to see somebody that doesn't give two craps about chiropractic, but they stand up on a big stage somewhere because they got paid to be there, rah-rahing you about how great you are as a natural healer, as a chiropractor, and they've never even been to a chiropractor.
Avoid vague motivators. I think that's another one that we sometimes get attracted to, and that's almost never a good coach for you. I mean, it's vague praise. And
we see that.
Yeah. And you go and you get motivated on a Saturday, and by Monday it's gone. What are you going to go back and implement? Oh, I heard this great one-liner that really got me going. By Monday, it's gone. You have nothing from what you just went to and paid big money for. There's nothing there.
Yeah, if you want to listen to a motivational speaker, get on YouTube. Deepak, loved hearing him back in the day.
Yeah.
Super cool to listen to him. But did he do anything for my practice? Absolutely zero.
No. And we throw, and some motivation's fine. We throw a little bit into some of our seminars, but you're there to get implementable strategies, not rah-rah, not to, play some loud music and dance on the tables when you walk in.
So when you have a coach, you don't want somebody that's going to dance in front of you with sunglasses on. They could do some dancing. I'm not a very good dancer, so you wouldn't like it much.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
I honestly, I would rather give you meat and potatoes. I'd rather be like, hey, we got a lot of ground to cover today. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Let's dive in from the first minute. And the other thing I think about a good coach is somebody that's willing to call you out and keep you accountable and say, hey, your fee strategy is all jacked up. Hey, your retention is terrible. We got to fix this. We got to figure out where the problem is. We got to fix this, or you're going down the tubes. That's what coaching really is all about, is finding those problems and helping you create a strategy and then holding you accountable to that strategy until the issue is overcome.
Yeah, I think that's one big one for you guys too, from an accepting coaching standpoint. I like to talk to clients up front and say, are you willing to hear what's not great and what is great about your practice? I'm going to tell you both. I'm not here to sugarcoat this. If there's something that needs to be worked on, I'm going to tell you I'm not impugning you when I say that.
No, we're not judgmental.
What I am saying is that I want you to be better. It's no different. If Michael Jordan's jump shot was off a little bit, I was his coach, I'm not going to go, Michael, I don't really want to say anything because you're way better at the jump shot than I am. No, I'm going to say, dude, here's what's going on, and we're going to have you ready to win the NBA championship. And that's really where we come from, is like, been there, done that, made mistakes, sometimes had to figure my own way out of them because I didn't have somebody that had the vast knowledge of coaching experience that you and I have. Yeah. And that Alex and Kelly have when they're working with us as well.
And Marissa.
And Marissa, from a standpoint of staff, here's the thing. It takes 4 of us doctors to be coaches. Have we ever figured out why it only takes 1 Marissa? She's a superwoman. We're going to give her credit there. But yeah,
but she has Bridget as backup too.
She does. Yeah. Bridget will help her out too. That's the thing, is we're working with staff and with doctors too. So the coaching goes beyond more just you. Yes, we want to get in your head and know what's going on, but I want to know what your staff's up to. Because guess what? They can run or supercharge a practice in a matter of days.
Oh yeah. In a matter of days. Yeah. I've seen staff take a business down in a week completely. So here's the thing. We started this off talking about the right mindset to have a good business coach in your practice, and the fact that there's this wrong mindset, inaccurate mindset in the profession about what good business coaching is all about. So we have to create a little bit of a mind shift to understand this. And I wrote a couple of things down here. If we think coaching is an expense thinking will keep you stuck in survival mode. Investors, we have to understand this. Investors build empires. Technicians stay on the grind. Coaching should shift your mindset from stinking thinking to becoming a CEO. And that's really where you need to be, is you need to be the CEO of your practice. And don't be afraid of coaching. Give us a call. Let's talk about your practice. Let's see where you're at. Let's see if we're a good fit for each other. We don't accept everybody into our program because our clients are like family. And we not only are your coaches, but we become your friends too. And that's why so many of our amazing clients stay with us for years. It's because not only are they seeing great results, but we really are like a family and constantly working for our clients to make sure you have the information that's not only implementable, but it's today's information. It's not something we did 20 years ago that worked in our practice for a minute that's outdated today. Everything we do is fresh. So look for coaches with that real business experience. And if you're serious about growth in your practice, invest in it. Invest like you're serious. And coaching is an investment because it's going to help you grow your practice. So don't wait till you're in burnout mode and you realize your practice is going down in flames. Scale now. Why not? So get off your duff. Quit thinking you got the greatest practice in the world. And you may, but do you really know if it is? Troy, anything to add?
I think that we've covered some pretty good ground today. And I would just say, if you wonder at all what we can offer you, we have a free service. I'm not going to talk to you because I don't want to, but Dr. Perusich will. Yeah, Dr. Perusich,
Marissa or I.
Dr. Perusich and Marissa will talk to you first and see if we're a fit. They're also going to find out a little bit about your practice. So it's a breakthrough call, basically to find out what's going on with your practice. And if you get on our CATS Consulting website, it's in the upper right-hand corner, correct?
Correct.
You can get on Dr. Perusich's calendar and you can schedule that breakthrough call.
Yeah,
And
when
there's no
you do
charge
that,
for that.
there's no charge. We do it because we're chiropractors just like you, and we want you to be successful just like we have been. And so if you jump on my calendar, just make sure to jot down a couple little notes about what do you want to talk about, what's going on in your practice, and where you think you need to be. So jump on there, catsconsultants.com. There's also a bunch of free downloads on there. In fact, we just uploaded some new ones. So go check it out. Most of all, we appreciate you guys out there listening to the KC CHIROpulse podcast. We're growing like crazy, and it's because of you guys. So you can subscribe wherever it is on here. You can subscribe and tell everybody about it. And make sure you tune in every week. Troy, good to see you. Thanks for being here today.
Yep, fantastic.
All right, everybody. On behalf of all of us at CATS Consultants, and we appreciate Chiro Health USA being one of our sponsors as well. From all of us here, we'll see you next time.
See ya.